family, to all of my motivators family. I truly appreciate every single one of you. Hello, hello. This is Marlene Motivates, and I am your life coach. Today, I am doing a moderator a moderator topic because one of my amazing mods, Carol Dew, asked for me to cover this topic and to give some support to those who have been verbally abused. So we're going to talk about some survivor support, and I think it's important for us to say that I always want to put this out there first. If you feel scared, unsafe, you feel like your life is being threatened, please go to local authorities, call the police, do everything that you need to do and protect yourself first, because I would never want to see any of my motivators family lose their life behind any sort of abuse. Hey James, how are you doing? And because of the nature of today's topic, I always want to say viewer discretion is advised and all of that. So, we're going to talk about some survivor support. I'm glad you're doing well, James. Thanks so much for being here. I hope you're well. Today I want to do some survivor support, and I want to say to everybody who has ever been through, has survived, have been on the other side of and being a victim of being verbally abused. It's not a good thing. It's a terrible thing. It's awful. It can haunt you for years and sit with you for a long time. But I wanted to give some survivor support, and we're going to talk about some verbal abuse. But before we get into all of that, I just want you all to know that this is a safe space. I'm not making fun. I'm not making any judgments telling you what you should personally do. But as a life coach, I give tips and tools and things that I know for sure would help anybody who has ever been victimized by verbal abuse, and giving you some support, okay? Hey, Legend, how are you doing? Welcome. And I wanted to give you some support because support is necessary, okay? So, first of all, let's talk about what is verbal abuse, shall we? Do any of you guys know what verbal abuse is? Verbal abuse can be labeling individuals, scolding, harassment, yelling, using derogatory terms to frighten, to humiliate, to belittle a person, name calling, really putting people down. And for me, that's just someone breaking somebody down, stepping on their ego, stepping on their self-esteem, really breaking somebody down until they don't have enough strength to fight back. And that is what somebody who is verbally abusive does. You know, the words that we use, it can either do two things. It can be a healing, or it can bring pain and hurt. And I know that many of my motivators family have been through many situations that have been very traumatic, and I'm so sorry to anybody who has been verbally talked to in a way to make them feel like they weren't enough, that they were stupid or foolish. And words cut, they really hurt us. Legend says yes. Oh, I'm so sorry. I never want to hear anybody say that they have been verbally abused, but I know that it happens to many people. And of course, I want to say that there are things to help us. You know, talking about survivor support, there's a lot of things that we can do if we have had years or months, or even being in a relationship with somebody who's just verbally attacking, putting you down, making you feel like nothing. There are things that we can do to help us as survivors. There's therapy, there's counseling, there's support groups, There is faith, leaning on whatever your faith is. And it's also working on yourself and not blaming yourself. I think that's one of the most important things when I want to talk about survivor support. Anybody who has ever been berated, talked down, yelled at, it chips away little by little at your self-esteem. It chips away little by little at your ego. It chips away at you wanting to even fight back. And it can show up in ways of your mental health. It can show up with you being emotionally unstable. And many, many people who have been verbally abused have to deal with depression, feelings of worthlessness, doubting yourself, feeling like you can't do enough. And many people, they medicate that verbal abuse by different vices. It could be drinking, it can be smoking, it can various other addictions. And we can have an addiction because instead of talking about what we feel or letting it out by crying or by doing some other things that we're going to talk about today, we'll hold it in, right? And I can tell you from my experience, because I can only speak on what happened to me. And I was raised that way. I was raised that whatever you go through, you just take it. You just take it and take it and take it and take it. And I was always taught to never let them see you cry, never let other people see you down. And that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. A lot of things that we were taught, maybe in your youth or in other relationships, and we felt like we always had to put on this tough persona, this showing how strong we were, and all of these things. When we go through things like this for years or a long period of time, it's very taxing on the mind, body, and the spirit, and it will affect us. So I want you all to know, don't hold these things inside. Give yourself the permission to work on yourself. And I hope that some of these tips will help somebody who's watching now or in the replay. So something that can be a very dangerous thing is to let a verbally abusive person know how we feel. If somebody is not mentally stable, because a lot of people who are verbally abusive have some mental health struggles. Some struggle with mental illness. Some have a lot of anger. Some are immature, controlling. Some people are narcissists. There's a lot of reasons why people can be verbally abusive to us, but none of it makes us accept it any easier. It's a hard pill to swallow, and it's a hard burden to carry when somebody berates, puts down, lashes out at you, says things that really, it cuts you deeply in your heart. It really, somebody that you care about, somebody that you really love, it causes you to lose the trust. It really causes me anger that someone would say something to try to bring me down. And one of those things that I find a verbally abusive person does is they talk about some things that maybe you have done in the past, and at that moment in their anger, or what maybe you did something that they didn't like, this is the time that they're going to throw things in your face. You did this and you did that, chipping away at your self-esteem. And that's not good. It's not right. And I am so sorry to anybody who has ever had to deal with somebody who is a monster, somebody who is that cruel. And I want you to know that you're not alone. This is about survivor support and knowing that whatever has happened to you is currently happening. It does not make it okay. And it's no amount of words that I can say that will make what happened not happen. But the reality is that there are tips, there are tools, there are things that we can do in order to help us to start the healing process. And that is what it's all about. It's that we can't undo, we can't stop, we can't make anybody do anything, especially if somebody is currently in our life that is emotionally, that is verbally abusive and causing us some pain and anger and control and trust issues, because that is just what happens when somebody berates you. I am definitely a person that has a lot of trust issues because of the way I was raised and how I was talked to. If your guard is always up, you have to find a way to heal that, because not everybody is a person that is going to come and bring you pain. But until you give yourself the permission to heal from it, you're always going to show up with pain to other people, you know. And I had to really go back and think that I hurt a lot of people because I was hurting, because I didn't give myself the permission to free myself and to let some things go. Okay. So let's start talking about some of the things that is involved with verbal abuse. Most of the time, the people who verbally abuse us, they were verbally abused. So it's a cycle, and the cycle continues and continues and continues until you end it. And I know what you're saying. How can you end a verbal abuse? By number one, not blaming yourself. That's very important in, talking about this topic of healing and survivor support. You cannot blame yourself for what somebody else did. It's somebody who was angry, mean, nasty, disrespectful, cut you down, hurt your feelings. That's not your fault. It's not our fault for what other people do. The only thing that we have control and power over, Motivators family, is how do we react to it? How do you react to the way that you are treated? See, that this is where your power lies. This is what we can do something about. So we can change how we talk to the people we care about. That's one thing that I wanted to shift and change. And it's something that, if from your childhood, maybe your parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, or whoever was this person that was very verbally abusive to you, you have to make changes so that you don't continue to do the same things. And I was definitely that person. I was raised always berated, talked down to, and you're nothing. And I mean, growing up, I had zero self-esteem. I thought nothing. I thought I was nothing. I thought I was less than dirt. And that is the reason why I always grew up taking everything from people, just thinking that I don't want to be yelled at. I don't want for people to make me feel like I felt in the past. But we can't do anything about what other people do. What we can do is we can change what we allow. And how can we do that? We're going to talk about some of that a little bit further. So we can change how we talk to the people we care about. You see how the power is starting? We become empowered when we know that, yes, while things happen to us, it can stop right there. When you take your power back by saying, some of these things that we're going to talk about, this is how we heal, this is how we break generational brokenness, and we empower ourselves, and we stop blaming ourselves and take responsibility for what we can do in our present. So we can change how we talk to the people we care about, because ourselves, if you have children, a spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, your relatives, and your friends, these are all relationships where we can shift. Maybe you were verbally accosted. Maybe they said things to break you down. Maybe you were yelled at, humiliated, belittled, called all kinds of disgusting names, none of which were true about you. See, one of the empowering things, Motivators family, is for us to understand that whatever somebody said to you, it doesn't mean that you have to let that marinate inside of yourself. You don't have to absorb all of that. You have to be just like a duck. And if you've ever seen a duck, when they get in the water rolls right off of them. It's the same way that you have to be with people with toxic behavior. While those things hit us and it hurts us, we cannot believe it. That's the empowerment. And that's why you have to have your time where you have the conversations, that positive self talk that I always talk about. You have to have positive self talk to reinforce, to undo some of the things that was lashed at you, some of the things that kind of digged at you, hurt you, the scolding, the berating, the bad treatment, the negativity, all of that we can do something about. So, the question that I wanted to say to all of you: how can you or I emotionally support those who have had years or months of verbal abuse? So, this is where some of the help, this is where some of the healing is going to come into us. So, emotional support. I want to give you all some emotional support. So, I want to share 10, I think I have 10 things. Yes, I have 10 things that I want to share, and how we can support others and ourselves that has been victims of verbal abuse. So the first point is to admit what happened to you, to either to you or to that person. And why is that important? Because you probably lied to yourself. Maybe you blamed yourself for what somebody else did to you, okay? But the first step in the healing process and to get the support that you need is you got to admit what happened to you and put all the cards on the table. For me, this is when I started to journal. I get all of these notebooks from, whatever store. Get a notebook and start writing about how you feel, because how you feel, it does matter. And the things that people say, you need to take some of those words and replace it with a different narrative. I always talk about over here mindset shifting. See, maybe in your upbringing or your previous relationship, you were always berated and put down. And while that's not okay, anything that has been done can always be undone by empowering your mind, your body, and your spirit. So, first, you got to admit what happened to you personally. And this happened. I was screamed at. I was yelled at. I was called all kinds of disgusting names. And it's important to say that. But then, right behind that, this is what happened to me. But then you reinforce it with some positive things. They said I was nothing, and you replace that with but I am something. I am capable. I don't have to hold in this anymore. I'm not I'm not nothing. I'm something. You're somebody, Motivators family. If anybody has ever made you feel like you're nothing, that you're not worth it, you're not capable, you're stupid, you're ugly, you're this, you're that, and whatever, we are the ones that have to reinforce in our own minds. And I've said this many times before, that we have to be a cheerleader. You got to be your own cheerleader, and you have to be your own best friend. The only way that you can get the support that you need is you have to support yourself. And you have to allow yourself to not be in that negative space anymore. And I know that it's easier said than done. It's easy for me to say it's time to shift from whatever someone said, but you have to be in that space and zone ready to be able to receive it. Because I've known for many years that it was important for me to have positive self-talk, but you do have to be in your feelings, and you have to be upset. You have to be angry. You have to get all of those things out, and by keeping it inside is one of the things that I did. I felt like keeping it inside was being angry with a person. That's going to make it better. Hi, Delvin. How are you doing? Welcome. I thought by being angry with a person, that was going to make it better. It doesn't make it better. Being angry with somebody does not make it better. Trust me. I was harboring this anger and this resentment, and I thought that was a good way to get revenge by staying angry with a person and holding it inside. The only person that you hurt when you do that is yourself. And I don't want you to hurt yourself. It physically, because I know that there are some individuals, because of so much berating and abuse and being talked about and laughed at and been made fun of, the name calling. I know that that does something to us. It hurts. It makes us sad. It makes us angry. It will probably affect your self-esteem. You will have trust issues. There's a lot of things that happen when someone is verbally abusive to you. Yes, hit the like button, everybody. Thank you so much, Delvin. But we don't have to stay there. So the first point was to admit what happened to you personally. And number 2 is know that it wasn't right. It wasn't or isn't right. So if somebody said something to you and you're stupid and you're nothing and you're ugly and you're this and you're that and you didn't and you're this and you're that, we each have to be able to have our own relationship with ourselves. See, I came from that space many years ago, and I always was looking for other people to fill voids in my life. And if you have toxic people, they have toxic energy, and they are raging about whatever anger issues they have, whatever they have going on, they are going to give that to you because they have not dealt with it. And just because somebody else doesn't want to deal with it, it doesn't mean you shouldn't deal with it. I want you to deal with it because you deserve to have peace in your life, okay? So let's go to point number 3. You have to remove yourself from people who verbally abuse. There is no if, ands, or buts. And I was definitely the person that thought that me being kind to the person. And I thought, oh, they haven't been introduced to my sort of love. Like, we think we can change people. We can improve people. We can mature people. Remember, how somebody shows up is how they show up. You can't make a person grow up. You can't make a person love you. You can't make a person be kind. You can't make a person work on their tongue, because some people's tongue is ruthless. It's deadly. You know, people will destroy you with their words, putting you down, shaming you. And it cuts right through you. It cuts right through your heart, especially when it's somebody that you care about. Most of the time, people who are verbally abusive are your very own relatives. It could have been your mother or your father, aunt, uncle, grandparents, siblings, or it could be somebody that you're close to. Other relationships, like a romantic relationship, or maybe it's a friend, a frenemy, a person who really claims to be a friend, but they're actually an enemy. Sometimes people are verbally abusive because there's something inside of you that they wish that they could be. Maybe they're jealous of you. Maybe they hate their life and they wish that they had a different life. Yes. True facts. Yes, they have to want to do it on their own. Yet we can't make people grow up. And I used to be that person waiting for a sibling, waiting for a friend, waiting for your romantic partner to grow up, to support you, to be nice, to be kind, to be there, to listen, to be what you want them to be. And at the end of the day, people can only be who they want to be. They're not going to be who you want them to be unless they are ready to make changes. See, that's where the empowerment comes in. See, I used to always think, oh, I'll keep being nice, or I'll stick around, I'll hold on to them, and they'll always apologize, right? That used to be a thing, because this is about survivor support. Don't fall victim to somebody saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, right? And they'll say that. Hey, smarter than your average, how are you doing? Thank you so much. I'm so glad you found my page. Yes, you'll be waiting a long time, right? You'll be waiting a long time for people to do the right thing. Some people don't want to do the right thing. Hey, Real Odds and Events, how are you doing? Blessings. I definitely appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Yeah, you have to be open-minded, and one of the things is that we have to know that people are going to be who they are. Some people are just toxic, negative, angry, jealous, manipulative, immature. It is what it is. It doesn't make it any easier to digest it, and we're not going to dilute it today. I don't dilute anything for my motivators family, but you have to kind of understand, why is what happened to me, why did that happen? And for many years I blamed myself. I thought maybe I wasn't a good sister or daughter. I wasn't a good wife. I'm not a good, or vice versa. Or you're not a good husband, or you're not a good girlfriend. You're not a good boyfriend. However it is that you fit into any of these relationships where somebody is verbally abusive to you. And I did that for a long time, blaming myself. Maybe if I was a better person, maybe if I was kinder, maybe if maybe if I did this, maybe if I did that, maybe that will soften them. Maybe they'll stop because they'll apologize, and maybe for a little bit they'll slow down on being verbally abusive. But when something is inside of them, and they have that disposition to be angry and be very slick with their mouth, be very rude and disrespectful. Oh, it may slow down for a little bit, but it's most definitely going to come back. That's my other name, open-minded, because I'm open-minded. Oh, okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Delvin says we always blame ourselves, and you cannot do that. Oh, I can't tell you guys how many times I cried and I cried and I mean, cried and cried and cried. And I used to always say, why do they treat me like this? What did I do to deserve it? Why are they so mean? And I know that it's not what we want to hear, but most of the time it don't have nothing to do with us. People are the way they are. They're projecting their fears, their insecurities, their immaturity, their anger, unresolved issues, all of it onto you. But then you'll be thinking, what did I do? What did I do? Am I not a good person? So this survivor support series on verbal abuse, I want you to stop blaming yourself. That's the first step. Stop blaming yourself. It's not your fault, okay? So, and sometimes in certain relationships, like I know in my upbringing, when you have two people who are very similar, they clash, they headbutt. If you got two people with two strong personalities, and one is like, this is how it's going to be, and then you may have a strong personality, you're like, this is how it's going to be. It's going to be a lot of headbutting, and you're not going to change, and they're not going to change. So sometimes the reason for the verbal abuse is you got two people who have the strong personalities and you're going to headbutt. And you got to understand that sometimes you're just not going to get along. You're just not going to get along with some people. And you're best leaving those people alone as much as possible. I've had jobs that was a good job, but the people that were there, it was so much of this. And it was always, they said something, I would say something. It's exhausting and it's just not worth it. Let's see what I missed. Awesome videos you've been putting out. Check out Marlene's long forms. Great content. Thank you, Rods and Evens. I really appreciate it. That really means a lot to me. I'm trying my best. And I always like to ask people, like in live streams, what do you guys like? Because I've been seeing people just have not been watching my videos. People just have not been coming to my live streams. And I'm not going to lie to y'all. I have been affected by it. It has really saddened me that my other channels, I have 4 other channels, and I see more people coming to my live streams and my videos over there. So I have honestly thought about, getting rid of this channel. I was like, maybe they don't need Marlene Motivates. Maybe they don't need a life coach. Maybe they don't need the support. But then I reel myself back in and says, no, Marlene, you are needed. And just like Delvin said today, and that was very inspiring to me. And he didn't even know what he was saying was me having some internal dialogue, feeling sometimes when you don't get support, you feel like maybe you doubt yourself a little bit. But then I had to shake that off and get back to knowing that the messages that I give, it may not be hitting thousands of people, maybe not right now, but I know that I give good commentary. I know that I give good advice. I know that I give good support. I know that I speak from my heart. I know that I'm not reading this on social media. I talk about what I have experienced. And I feel like when you experience something, I can talk about this with my chest. I know what it feels like to be broken from verbal abuse. I know what it feels like to cry and to feel like you're nothing and to have zero self-esteem. You're just in pieces. Just very sad, and there's many people who have full-blown depression because of a lot of unresolved issues. And I just want to say to all the survivors, don't stay in that space. I can say that because that used to be me, sitting around moping, crying my eyes out, talking about why did they do this to me, and being angry with everybody but the person that you should be angry with, or the group of people you should be angry with. One of the best things that helped me with being verbally abused is writing letters. I wrote many letters to the people who hurt me. And you put everything in there. You made me feel like trash. You made me have zero self-esteem. You didn't support me. You abandoned me. You disrespected me. You embarrassed me. You did this, you did that, and put it all out there. And you don't have to give that to the person, but that's for you, because you got to get it out. And then when you get it out, now you can start writing letters to yourself. And those are the letters that I post. I put it on a Post-it note and I read it every day. Every day I affirm within myself, this is what was said to me, but today I am enough. Today I can do great things. Today I'm possible, not impossible. See, we're taking the past and we're elevating, we're escalating, we're growing. Because you got to have a growth mindset in order to make big changes and to have peace in your life. For me, until I knew that I deserved healing, you're going to stay stuck. You're going to stay angry. You're going to stay sad. And nobody deserves to have that power over us. And it is. It's like carrying heavy weights on your back, on your shoulders, on your heart, in your head. It's going to affect you emotionally. It's going to make you maybe be detached to the people that you need to be attached to. If somebody did something like in your childhood, in a past relationship, a friend, somebody broke your trust, talked down to you, you're going to be lashing out and doing the same thing. So if you don't check that verbal abuse, you're going to wind up scarring and hurting people that you care about. You're going to be repeating the cycle of what happened to you, and we don't want to do that. See, we want to be better. And that is why I'm so grateful that I put in work into myself and said, I don't want to be angry anymore. I don't want to be crying all the time. I don't want to feel like I'm nothing. I want to feel like I can do great things. I want to be at peace and I want to have joy. And I'm grateful every day I get the opportunity to say, I have survived. And now I'm stronger and I'm better. I'm better than I ever was. See, every time I can say to anybody who hated on me, put me down, felt like they could broke me. Every day I wake up and I stand strong and I can say, you didn't break me. You tried to break me. You tried to break me down emotionally. You tried to break me down verbally. You tried to say things about me. And yes, while it does hurt, it did hurt me, but I survived it. And now I'm empowered. And that is the reason why I can speak to you all. See, from one survivor to another. I know what hurt feels like. I know what sadness feels like. I know what discouragement. I know what having feelings of worthlessness, not what I read in a book and what a doctor or this person said. I lived depression. I lived sadness. I lived feelings of worthlessness. I lived feeling like I could never do anything, feeling like I wasn't enough, like I don't want to try. I lived it and I survived it. And now that I have come through on the other side, now I can say I know what it feels like to endure that, to battle it, and to remind myself when I'm feeling like I can't do something or when I feel like I'm not enough, that I got to look at myself in the mirror and to say, but you are enough. And I say that to all of my motivators family. Anybody who said something to you, put you down, berated you, belittled you, embarrassed you, called you out your name, it was a lie. It's not true. You got to tell yourself that none of what happened to me, that's not true what they said about me. And you got to put a new narrative. You got to speak over your own life, some new positive self-talk. They say you are nothing, and I say I'm something. They say you are nobody, and I say I'm somebody. They say you're not capable, and I say I'm capable. They say you are hurt, and I say I'm healed. It's all about this right there. Empowering your mind, being confident. And the more that you work on yourself, every time I talk about this topic of verbal abuse, and I can go back to how I felt and how I used to feel so angry inside, feel like I wanted to explode. And I have exploded, but not in the good way. Exploded on people who did nothing to me, exploded on people that cared about me. I can say, because I'm an honest, transparent woman, that I hurt people because I was unhealed, because I didn't want to humble myself and say, I need some support. I need to talk about some things. But all of that is up to us. And it's up to you. I want you all of my motivators family, I want you to be healthy. I want you to be happy. I want you to have peace of mind in your life. But nobody can give you that. I tell you, as a survivor of verbal abuse, the only person that can give you the freedom to let things go is you. And when I said what I said, I release this and I give myself the permission to let it go, because none of it was true. None of it was good. And now today, I am saying what is true. And that's what I want to say to all of my motivators family. I want to give you some empowerment. I want you to feel good and strong. And you got to stop saying, I'm hurt, I'm broken, I'm sad, I'm angry. You got to replace that with better, positive things. No, I'm empowered. I have value. I have strength. I am enough. They didn't break me even though they tried. Some people will actually try to go beyond the verbal abuse, but we'll talk about that in another survivor support. But yeah, yeah, exactly. Yes, Delvin says talk. It has to be the yin and yang. Yes, to get balance. Yes, two strong minds will always clash. They don't reason with each other. Thank you so much, Delvin. I appreciate it. Smarter Than Your Average says you have my full support. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. People that don't listen to people like you want to stay in foolish positions in life. They do. And I have had people who have been, who think they're so, of course, they could be taller, they can be stronger, but when people find that they can say anything and it doesn't deflate you, see, you're the one that makes a choice to let people prick or pop your balloon. You let people, put you down. You let people step on you. You let people run over you. Remember, you allow it. See, what do you say to yourself? Do you keep saying, I'm hurt? Do you allow yourself to forgive the people who put you down? And that was something that was hard for me. But it's not just saying it. I had to say it out loud. I forgive you for everything that you have said, every hurt, every time when you made me feel like nothing, every time you embarrassed me. And I give myself the permission to be free from it. You got to say those things out loud. I give myself the permission to be free. I give myself the permission to let it go. I give myself the permission to not let this control me any longer. That's empowering. Yes, experience is the best teachers. Yes, yes. Know that you're doing good. Yes, much love to one of my best friends in life. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Don't give nobody power over you. That is so true, Delvin. Yes. Recognize, reflect, and release. Yes, yes. It's so right. Real odds and evens. Delvin says, that's real. I know what hurt feels like. See, and one of the things is that you have to be very careful. You have to be very mindful of who you share your private, personal hurt with. You can't trust everybody just because somebody is your relative. Most of the time, the relatives are the one bringing you the most pain. Your ex, this person, that person, they keep bringing pain, but you are the one that has to bring it to an end. Okay? And we're going to get into that in a little bit. Yes, Delvin, you are enough. You know, you are enough, and every single person here, more than enough. You got to recognize what made you feel bad, reflect on how it made you feel, and release it. Yes, indeed, y'all, indeed. Yes, uh-huh. Yeah, open-minded facts. So, okay. Now, number 2, that know that wasn't or isn't right. Number 3, you have to remove yourself from people who verbally abuse you. No ifs, ands, or buts. You cannot keep staying around the toxic, because it's going to be the toxic energy. They're going to manipulate your mind. They're going to break your spirit. They're going to break your confidence. They're going to crush your dreams. Listen, I'm telling you, I'm talking about what I know. When you are around people who are toxic, verbally abusive, they are going to crush you, and that is exactly where they want you to be, because when you're crushed, they can control you just like a puppet. See, but when you're empowered, when you're strong, when you know your worth, you're not trying to hear that. You're not trying to be around them. I'm trying to tell y'all, If you don't believe in yourself, if you do not give yourself the permission to heal, they are going to keep hurting you. Yes, only the broken break people. See, and that's why you have to stop. You have to be very careful and mindful about what you speak over your life. Never say I'm broken. Stop saying you're hurt. Don't say you're damaged. You just say you're learning. You're growing. You're becoming empowered. You're learning your strength. All of that is a part of the growth mindset, okay? Thank you so much, Delvin. So we got 6 more points. Okay, so how can I support those who have had years of verbal abuse? Number 4, find support in a support group or with those that you can trust. I'm trying to tell you, I'm telling you, this was so revolutionary in my healing. You have to get support, but you cannot get support from everybody. You can't get support from the people who are fake and phony and users and manipulators and toxic. You got to find support in a new set of people. So if you're looking to get support from toxic people, you're wasting your time. No wonder you're sad, upset, and depressed. You got to stop expecting for people to make changes and be what you want them to be. Recognize that people are going to be what they want to be. Okay? So find support in a support group. And I'll tell you guys, I can't tell you how much healing that I got. Oh, no problem, Delvin. I appreciate everything that you have been dropping in the chat, so I understand. Finding support in a support group was so, it was like taking oil and pouring it over my head. It was so healing to my soul, my mind, my body, my spirit. It's like you can tell somebody what you're going through and how you feel, but it takes another person who has survived the same thing, and they're not just listening, they're saying, that happened to me too. And this is what I did. And when I sit back and I listen to people who said, this happened to me, this happened to me, and when you hear it, you're like, wow. So I'm not the only one. There's nothing like finding the support, the encouragement, and the validation from somebody who went through it and experienced the pain, the sadness, the hurt that you did. See, it's nice to have people who will listen, but it's nothing like somebody who knows what it feels like to be used, abused, disrespected, put down. There's nobody like it. So join the support groups. There's many all over social media that you can join for free. And I have a few groups that I join as a support group, and I just sit in the background and I listen, and it does something for my spirit. And like anytime when I start getting frustrated, sometimes like I'll have like every 6 months it'll be like a record, a scratch record. I'll relive something that happened to me, and then I go to the support group, and then I get encouraged again, and like iron, they sharpen me up, shine me up, empower me, and I can go back out there and conquer once again. So find your support groups or people that you can trust, not just people who just say yeah, okay, but the ones that really will pour into you and let you talk and not tell you you don't need to think that way, or that's been over, you need to get over that, why are you still talking about that? That's not what you need, motivators family. You need to have people who will just listen to you and let you feel how you want to feel. You're entitled to be angry as long as you want to be angry. You're entitled to cry as long as you want to cry. But you got to have safe people that are not going to use that as ammunition to shot. some to talk about you, to throw it up in your face later on. You don't need immature people like that. You need people who are going to be supportive, compassionate, and understanding, and there for you when you need them the most. Okay? Point number 5. How can we heal? It takes time. There's no other way to say that but that. It takes time. Time is a healer. So when things are fresh, of course you're going to be upset, angry, mad, but as time goes on, you're going to process things differently because your perspective in the world changes. You're growing, you're learning, you're healing, you're improving. So give yourself all the time that you need. Point number 6, you got to be patient. Okay? Be patient with yourself and let yourself feel how you feel. Point number 7, I can't tell you guys enough, cry. And if you're done crying, cry some more and cry some more and cry some more. I feel like tears are a healing to your spirit. It's not good to hold those things in, especially when somebody said some of the nastiest, the meanest, the most discouraging, the most disrespectful things to you. Let it out. So whether you want to let it out in a support group, I'm a person where I have worked on me. Anytime I feel the need to cry, I'm going to cry. No problem, Delvin. I am a person that anytime I need to cry, I'm going to cry. Because I don't care what anybody else has to say. It's about my peace of mind. It's about my life and my journey. And sometimes people feel some type of way about, why are you crying? It takes a strong person to let that pain out, because it does hurt when you're crying. But I feel so much better. It's cleansing to me. It feels like rubbing a salve on my heart and giving myself the ability to cope with my day a little bit longer. So if anybody told you don't cry, or you're a punk, you're soft, you're this because you cry, no, that means you're strong. It means you're aware. It means that you love yourself. And I don't have to hold in the toxicity anymore. I don't have to believe the lies. Okay? Give yourself the permission to cry. I'm telling you, a good cry makes you feel so much better. Delvin says, when I was young, I took my anger out in fighting. You're not the only one, Delvin. You know, the verbal abuse can do some other things to us. And on the next emotional support, I think we're going to be talking about, because there's verbal and there's the emotional abuse. So the emotional abuse is the one that's coming on next week after I come back from my break. So point number 8, meditation. You know, a lot of people don't understand that meditation is the time that you take to sit and to listen to whatever you call it. I call it God. Some people call it the universe. Meditation is your time for you to recenter and find out what God, the universe, has for you. And I love that, because people think that meditation is just clearing things out. Yes, while meditation can clear some things out, but you need to be sitting and listening. How do I need to be treating myself better? What do I allow? Am I letting people use me and abuse me? Why did I answer those phone calls or text messages or this or that? See, verbal abuse continues until we become more aware, until you become more cognizant of somebody's effects on us. If you know that somebody always berates you, puts you down, makes you feel like trash, you gotta ask yourself, why do I want that in my life? Why do I feel like I deserve that when you don't? Okay. The next one is prayer. To all my people of faith, don't be afraid. People, I feel, don't pray enough. So if you are feeling some type of way about verbal abuse, open up your heart. Pray about it. It's always in season. Okay. This is the last point. How can I emotionally support those who have been verbally abused? This is one of my favorites, and this is what I do on a regular basis. I give back to others by sharing my testimony. Every time I come live, every time I do a podcast, every time I mentor, I give my time, I do coaching sessions. I give back, I pour into people, I empower people. And the same thing can be said of you. When you share your testimony with trusted people, and I forgot to say, giving back to others by sharing your testimony with the right people in the right situations. You can't just pour out your personal, private, traumatic things, but in a safe space with safe people, people who listen to you and respect you. You can teach. You can show people where you came from. And every time I say, I used to be a very angry person. I used to be this and I used to be that. People don't believe me because of who I am today. And it's remarkable what personal growth will do for you, what mature will do for you, what peace will do for you. So I want you all to give yourself the permission to say, I'm healed. I'm better. I deserve better. And I want to say to all of my survivors of verbal abuse, you made it. Maybe you don't feel good about the situation, but as you learn, as you grow, as you take things little by little, as you process, as you give things away, as you release it, as you get empowered and get strong, you're going to feel better. So I want you to remind yourself, I made it through that. And I'm so proud of myself. And I didn't break. I didn't give up. I didn't give in. I'm stronger. I learned something about them. And you learn about yourself. And you learn what not to do and what to do. So I hope that this live stream podcast has been helpful, informational, has brought some awareness to all of my motivators family. See, I want the best for every single one of you. I don't want you to stay in situations to where you are verbally abused. And like I said at the top of this live stream, if you feel like you're in danger, someone has threatened your life, call 911. Get to a safe place. Move, leave, stop going around these people, because if a person is so toxic as to put you down, berate you, judge you, embarrass you, disrespect you, scream, it will escalate to the next live that I'm going to talk about on next week, Monday. Next week, we're going to be talking about emotional abuse. Okay. So thank you guys so much. This has been emotional support for those of verbal abuse. Get the help that you need. Talk to your trusted people. Heal. Give yourself the permission to let it go and to be free from it, because you know why? Because you are enough. I'm enough, and so are you too. We survived it. You made it through. And I can say to myself, I'm thankful that I made it through. I'm grateful that I overcame depression, feelings of worthlessness, low self-esteem, and you all can too. Yes, Delvin, meditation saved your life. Me too. So I'm so grateful for every single one of you. I wish you all peace, blessings, every benefit in life, but you got to be in the healing process, and you got to give yourself the permission to let go. To let go and to be free. Let go and be free, and don't hold on to that anger. Don't hold on to toxic relationships. Don't hold on to toxic people, and do not blame yourself. Okay? Thank you so much for tapping in. If you're watching me live, thank you so much. Thank you for the likes. And those who are watching in the replay, leave me a comment in the comment section below. I truly appreciate every single one of you. Have a great rest of your evening, everybody. And I most definitely will tap back in after my vacation. I'm going to be on vacation on from Thursday evening all the way till Sunday. And I hope to come back recharged with fire so that we can talk about more life coaching topics. I am Marlene Motivates, and I am your life coach for motivational support, mindset shifting, positivity, and all of the emotional support that every single one of us needs. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shout out to the mods, and to everybody who's new, feel free to subscribe. Bye, guys.